Almost 9 months ago, when the Lions took on the Rams in the wild card round of the playoffs, they started out the game by driving down the field 75 yards in 10 plays, scoring a touchdown, gaining at least 1 yard every single down. Then on their second drive of the game, they did the same thing, but faster, in only 6 plays, scoring a second touchdown. And on the third, they did it again, and through those 3 drives, Goff only had 1 incompletion, and all of this was against the Rams with Aaron Donald. And in 4 days, these teams have a rematch on Sunday Night Football at Ford Field. And I'm telling you now, the Lions will be winning by double digits. Looking at the Rams secondary, Tre'Davious White is going to be their top DB this season. However, he has had trouble staying healthy over the past few years, only suiting up for 10 total games in the last 2 seasons. He suffered an ACL injury and then tore his Achilles 4 games in the last season. So how good will he be coming into this year? Darius Williams is probably their second best DB, coming from Jacksonville. Had a pretty good season, 19 pass deflections and 4 interceptions, but he is a smaller corner, coming in at only 5'9". The Rams also signed safety Cameron Curl, coming from the Commanders. He was there his first 4 years in the NFL, who showed a lot of promise. They also brought back John Johnson III for another year with the Rams. However, he has not been as good as earlier in his career with his first stint with the Rams. And lastly, for LA secondary, there's Quentin Lake, who is still very young and transitioned to cornerback from safety. He was voted as the captain by the Rams, which is exciting for him, voted by the players. However, I'm not sold on him being a starter yet, as he really has been up and down in his career so far. In the playoffs last year, when these two teams met, Jared Goff was hit 6 times and sacked 3 times. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Aaron Donald is gone from that defensive line, and they're going up against the best offensive line in all of the NFL, which has gotten better after the Lions signed Kevin Zeitler. They had Byron Young last season, who had a phenomenal rookie season, dropping 8 sacks and forcing 2 fumbles. And this year, they drafted Jared Verse, who is a very promising rookie. But this defense is extremely young, especially the defensive line. And a lot of these players have never played together before. As I said, Tre'Davious White is coming from Buffalo. Cameron Curl is coming from the Commanders. Darius Williams coming from Jacksonville. And to make it worse, the Rams have a brand new DC this upcoming season. Chris Shulett. Now, I think it was a good hire. He's been with the Rams for 7 years. Seems like he's done a lot of good things. But you have all these players who have never played together before and a brand new DC. And now you have to go up against the best offense in the NFL at their home turf. The secondary is going to have to cover and tackle Sam Laporta, who is an absolute beast. They're going to have to cover Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the best wide receivers right now in the NFL, and Jameson Williams, one of the fastest wide receivers right now in the NFL. The defense isn't only going to have to try to put pressure on Jared Goff when he drops back to pass, but stop this offensive line from pushing them back and stop the run and tackle Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, which they weren't able to do last year in the playoffs. Why do you think they're going to be able to do it now? And Detroit had no problem putting up points in the playoffs last season, even in San Francisco against the 49ers defense. And I also think it's notable to point out that the Rams' last game they played was against Detroit. The Lions have played 2 games after that. And I think you grow a lot as a player, especially when you're playing in the playoffs and the conference championship. These players are going to be totally different than the last time they played. Now, a lot of people think that this is going to be another season for the Rams where their offense is going to be heavily relied on them to win games. And I think that was a little bit of the case, especially towards the end of last season. But I promise you, this rematch will not have Matthew Stafford slinging the ball all over like he did last year. I'll say it now. My predictions is that no way Matthew Stafford throws for over 300 yards, and I believe he will be picked off. And I know there's a lot of good pieces on this offense. Kyron Williams is really good. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. Well, if you look here, Kyron Williams only had 61 yards of rushing last year. The Lions had the best rush defense in all of the NFL last season. And now, coming into this season, they have a whole revamped defense. And I'll get into that in a minute with the matchup. My first reason why I don't think Matthew Stafford is going to be able to throw the ball like he did last year is first, the Rams' offensive line. Before the season has even started, the Rams are facing a ton of problems with their offensive line, starting with Alaric Jackson's 2-game suspension. And starting right tackle Rob Havenstein will most likely miss week 1 against Detroit due to a right ankle injury at the beginning of August. Additionally, Jonah Jackson is still working back from injury. He's been tried out at center. It's looking like he's going to be the center week 1. So switching people around, they're going to be out definitely left and right tackle. Jonah Jackson's going to be at center. And this banged up offensive line now has to protect Matthew Stafford against this revamped defensive line and secondary. The Lions signed Marcus Davenport to be the other edge rusher alongside Hutchinson. They're going to be unstoppable. Hutch already unstoppable. I think Marcus Davenport will sack Matthew Stafford week 1. He's only sacked twice when they played in the playoffs. It's going to be a lot more pressure because they also signed DJ Reader. And this #1 run defense just got even better with DJ Reader and Halim McNeil plugging the gaps. And then this is the best part. Last year, Cooper Kupp and Puka and Stafford were going up against CJ Gardner-Johnson, Kindle Vildor, and then Cameron Sutton. Now, first, CJ Gardner-Johnson. He's all talk. I kind of defended him in some past videos. I was excited when he came to Detroit, kind of. But he's all talk. He did nothing for the Lions. He was terrible. He got destroyed by McCaffrey against the 49ers. Whatever I've said about him in the past, forget it. I'm over him. I don't like him as a player anymore. Then Kindle Vildor. Sorry, he's just not a DB1. Like, we can't have him defending Brandon Ayuk. We can't have him defending Puka Nacua. And then there's Cameron Sutton. And, you know, I defended Cameron Sutton throughout the year. But honestly, he was not very good. And then, you know, we all know what happened. He got released, and you know, I just figured this out. He signed with the Steelers. I never would imagine. I thought he was done playing football forever. He signed with the Steelers, so I'm interested to see what's gonna happen with that. He's gonna be suspended. There's no way he's not. So, but maybe, you know, maybe he won't be suspended. We've seen what's going on with Rashee Rice. He's playing tomorrow night against the Ravens. As long as you're not gambling on college football at a team hotel, you're fine. You can do anything but that. If you do that, you'll be suspended for 4 games. But last year for Matthew Stafford and the Rams wide receivers, it was free. It was an open field. They could throw it wherever they wanted. Everyone was wide open. You know, the secondary just wasn't as strong, and the pass rush wasn't as strong. Hutch is by himself trying to take down Stafford. You saw that he had 7 QB hits in that game. Just couldn't get him down. Now, you got that super strong defensive line. You got Marcus Davenport going at Stafford. He's a big guy. And then the Lions secondary with Terrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, Carlton Davis III. I love Carlton Davis. I'm so excited about him. We've seen how hard Brian Branch hits. I'm so excited to see this team on the field. I remember last year, week 1 against the Chiefs, I was like, no way Gibbs is out there. No way Laporta. No way Brian Branch. Like, and then you got the pick 6. It was truly awesome to watch. Watching this new team come out there with the new lineup, it's always super exciting. I think Matthew Stafford would get picked off. If I had to guess who, I'd like to say Terrion Arnold, but I'd guess it'd be Carlton Davis III. I think he's going to get picked off. I also think Stafford is going to get sacked at least once by Marcus Davenport. I think he'll have 1 sack. And I think the Lions are going to win by double digits. My final score prediction is 31-13. It's a pretty big margin. But yeah, I at least think double digits. I think the Lions team is just so much better than last year, and they were already so good last year. And the Rams, I'm not really seeing, especially with their O-line injuries, and they don't have Aaron Donald, and they have a brand new secondary. All these guys are coming in, haven't played together for a real game yet. New DC. I just don't see how this Rams team is going to compete, and it's at Ford Field. Home field advantage is real. We saw how bad the Texans destroyed the Browns in the playoffs last year. It was in Houston. That crowd was loud. CJ Stroud and his team felt at home. They destroyed the best defense in the NFL. And we've seen how loud Ford Field has been. And they're trying to break the decibel record again. I don't think it's going to happen. You know, first playoff game is just way more exciting. But maybe, you'd hope so. There's still a ton of hype around this team. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's crazy how far we've come. I remember making my video 3 seasons ago when the Lions were just putting up points, but the defense couldn't do anything, and they started, I think, 1-6. It's crazy how far we've come as Lions fans. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, helps me out a lot if you enjoyed this video. Peace.